Good afternoon, dear judges and my fellow contestants. Today, I will be performing the poem Sistina, Like, by A.E. Stallings. This is a poem that I think is relatable for many of us, and reading this poem has been a self-reflecting journey for me. I will now begin my recital. Now, we're all friends. There is no love, but like. A semi-demi goddess. Something like a reality TV star look-alike named Simile, or me, too. So we like in order to be liked. It isn't like there's love or hate now. Even plain dislike is frowned on. There's no button for it. Like is something you can quantify. Each like you gathers almost something money-like. Token of virtual support. Please like this page to stamp out hunger. And you'd like to end hunger and climate change alike. But it's unlikely, like this diddly. Like just twiddles its unopposing thumbs-ups. Likewise, props up scarecrow silences. I'm like so over him, I overhear. But, like, he doesn't get it, like, you know? He's like, it's all okay. Like, I don't even like him anymore. Whatever. I'm all like, take like out of our chat. We'd all alike flounder, agape, gesticulating like a foreign film sans subtitles, fall like dumb phones to mooted des with you. But unlike with other crutches, when we use like, we're not just buying time on credit. Like displaces other words, crowds, cuckoo-like, endangered hatchlings from the nest. Click like if you're against extinction. Like is like invasive zebra mussels, or it's like those nutria things, or kudzu, but like redundant fast food franchises, each like more like the next. Those poets who dislike inversions, archaisms, who just like plain English as she spoke. Why isn't like they're literally every other word? I'd like us just to admit that's what real speech is like. But as you like, my friend, yes, we're alike. How we pronounce, say, lichen and dislike, cancer, and war. So, like this page, click like. This is the end of my recital. I will now discuss on some topics about this poem. This poem is discussing about how bland and overused like is, and it's like as a concept. There are two parts to this. The first is like as a social media icon, and the second is like used as an abundant filler word in our everyday language. The writer is the main voice of the poem, who goes on to criticize about how these things are oversimplified and they are in turn meaningless. But there are two other voices in the poem, as you could hear. The first is a depiction of an online advertisement or post who is quick to jump to conclusions and is desperately begging for likes. The second is a woman who's complaining about her ex-boyfriend, where instead of saying something actually meaningful and emotional, she just keeps putting like in her dialogue, and which makes it more annoying, to say the least. In the end, the author almost unwillingly accepts the fact that like is truly everywhere now, and even goes on to ask for the reader for likes, which leaves the reader to think about his or her own experiences does like in social media actually represent support for change or for somebody else? Does like as a word hinder our ability to express linguistically? I think these are questions that we could all take home and ponder. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll open the floor for a question.
How do you think about the ending of the poem? Why does the poet mention cancer and war?
I think the poet mentions cancer and war as a reference to earlier in the poem where she said, and you'd like to end hunger and climate change alike, because all of these are serious topics, and she's saying it in a way that almost takes the seriousness and the importance out of it, and that's why I think she references that in the end.
In stanza 3, first line, diddly, what does that mean?
Diddly is a word for, I believe it's just anything, so it's something, which means, but it's unlikely like does something. And that's also a great word to rhyme with in this part.
Yeah, it's a cute word.
Yes.
In the fourth stanza, the last line, poet adds the word What is and why is it used in that sentence?
So the context of this part is unlike with other crutches, when we use like. So by saying other crutches, she is referring to other filler words that we often use in our language. Is one of them. I think we all say that a lot, but she is trying to contrast with like, so that's why she says unlike with other crutches. It's not only a stop in her speech, but it's also referencing to what the other crutches mean.
Okay. In stanza 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on the second line, well, the stanza reads, "We're not just buying time on credit, like displaces other words." So, what do you think this means? Like displaces other words.
I think by displace, another way to think of it would be the word replace. Basically, it says that when you could just say like for practically anything, it replaces the need to use a lot of other words that might be more meaningful and more complex and more colorful. So that's why it says like displaces other words. It makes these other beautiful variety of words completely obsolete, because when people want to think of a word to use it, they just say like.
Okay, the fourth stanza, why does the poet mention a foreign film song subtitles?
It says, so we're, go on?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no
So it
subtitles
says
for overtime.
we're gesticulating like a foreign film sans subtitles. Basically, without like, we would be speechless and we would not be able to understand what's going on, like a film in a foreign language without the subtitles. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's welcome the third